Hello everybody, happy Thursday to you. A little bit of a change today. I'm not inside my studio, quote unquote. I'm pulling my studio. As I told you yesterday, I hitched up and got out of town. Hitched up my camper and headed down to Montgomery, Alabama, to Gunter Hill Campground, Army Corps of Engineers campground. Beautiful, had a great time, got some much needed rest, much needed sleep. It was absolutely wonderful. The weather was perfect and I really enjoyed it. So I'm heading home today, back to home base, and I thought that I'd change things up a little bit and just do a show while I'm driving, and I have my hands on the wheel and my eyes on the road. I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at the road, so fret not. I'm just going at a leisurely pace. I never get in a hurry, especially when I'm pulling the camper or my work trailer, my cargo trailer. I think the speed limit is 65, or I think it's 65. I'm just north of Montgomery, but I never speed. The trailer tires are not rated for, I think, above 65, but I never get over that anyway. There's no need. I'll be home in a couple of hours. I'm in no big hurry. I gotta get home and get unpacked and unhitched and get ready to get back to work. Hit it hard again. I thought that I would cover, since I didn't get a chance yesterday because I was talking about other things. We had it was an election day Tuesday in the States. And so we had a lot of elections on the state level, mostly states and cities, and I wanted to cover some of the results of those because it didn't go all that well in some places. I'm talking about the good guys and the bad guys, right? The one that was the biggest disappointment to me, I suppose, would be the race for the Kentucky governor. You had the incumbent, who was a Democrat by the name of Andy Beshear. Andy Beshear won his office in 2019 when he defeated the then incumbent governor, Republican Matt Bevin, who was largely a libertarian, but he lost in a razor-thin race. And you know, you always have to factor in the some of the shenanigans that might have gone on in election, but I don't know how to address that. I mean, there's bogus and fraudulent activity in every American election. That's just the way it is. Anyway, Beshear became the governor in 2019, but he was opposed this go round by a Republican by the name of Daniel Cameron. And it was a fairly close election, but Beshear won re-election, and it was seen as a pretty big disappointment for Republicans. Trump had thrown his support behind Cameron, but it didn't matter. Beshear won re-election. Now, my thoughts on it are simply this: a couple of things. Number one, generally speaking, it's tough to beat an incumbent, because the incumbent has got a machine behind him, and it's generally speaking, it's hard to beat an incumbent. It's not always the case, but often it is.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
My GPS is talking, so pay no attention to that. Of course, a few weeks ago, we had a big win in Louisiana when the Republican won that contest for governor. But anyway, my other thought about this race in Kentucky is one I'm going to hold until the end of my thoughts on all of these races. In the state of Virginia, the Republicans lost the House and the Senate, and that was seen as a big loss for Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, who a lot of people were thinking may still get into the presidential contest for the Republican.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
But that's not going to happen now. This was a big defeat, especially for Youngkin. Of course, the people of Virginia as well. Virginia is such a mixed bag. You know, American elections come down basically to cities versus counties, cities, urban versus rural. That's really what it's all about. The big American cities vote Democrat. The normal people who use their brains out in the country, they don't vote for Democrats. If you could take cities out of the equation, Democrats would never win a national election. But that's just how it goes. And in the case of Virginia, you've got the state at large, and then you've got the northern part of the state with cities like Fairfax and Arlington, and these are bedroom communities for Washington, D.C. So you've got all these federal employees who work for the federal government and the Biden administration who live in Virginia, and they vote. And how do they vote? They always vote for the Democrats. I mean, overwhelmingly they vote for the Democrats, and that just, counters the vote from the rest of the state. If you took Alexandria and Fairfax and Arlington out of the equation, Virginia would never vote for a Democrat in a statewide election. That's
Police reported ahead.
If you took the influence of Washington, D.C. out of the equation, there would never be a Democrat elected to statewide office in Virginia in terms of the governor, lieutenant governor, things of that nature. So this was a big loss, especially for Youngkin, and you've seen the last of him in terms of anybody making noise about him being a presidential candidate. That's not going to happen now. And I wasn't that crazy about him anyway. In Mississippi, the current governor of the state is a Republican by the name of Tate Reeves. Mississippi is referred to as a ruby red state. It's about as Republican as you can get. But Tate Reeves had a Democratic opponent in his race for re-election, and his opponent was a man by the name of Brandon Presley. Does the name Presley resonate with you? It should.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Vehicle on shoulder ahead. Thank you. My Waze app. If you don't have the Waze app, get it. It'll tell you where the cops are. It's great. But Brandon Presley was running as a Democrat against the incumbent Tate Reeves. And yes, Brandon Presley is a distant relative of Elvis. I think that their grandfathers were brothers, or their great-grandfathers, or something like that, but he is like a second cousin to Elvis. So the king's cousin was running for governor. Well, he lost. Tate Reeves beat him pretty significantly, so the name Presley didn't help him that much. So the Republicans held on to the governorship in Mississippi. I don't think that's that big of a surprise. In the city of Manchester, New Hampshire, this was a big shocker on a local level. Manchester, New Hampshire is apparently a Democrat stronghold. The Democratic mayor of Manchester apparently could not run for re-election, but his hand-picked successor was defeated by a man by the name of Jay Ruas, a Republican, and this was not supposed to happen. So Jay Ruas becomes the new Republican governor of Manchester, New Hampshire. So that's a big win, or it's a win. So there's wins and losses across the board from last Tuesday night in all of these elections. You may know of Rashida Tlaib in Congress. She's a Muslim from Michigan. Democrat, of course. She got censured by the House of Representatives. Most Republicans voted for the censure, and a few Democrats voted for it as well. She was being censured over remarks she made with regard to Palestinians and Hamas, that sort of thing. I can't read her exact quote, but she got censured and she was blubbering to the Congress after this happened. Now, censorship, I cannot say this word. The fact that you get censured has no teeth. It's not like you get kicked out of Congress. It's just like it's a big slap on the wrist for a member of Congress. Adam Pencil Neck Geek Schiff got censured a few weeks ago. You don't have to leave Congress. It's just Congress, the rest of Congress, admonishing you for your behavior. How do I feel about this? Not strongly one way or another, to be honest with you. Part of me wants to say, look, let her say whatever she wants to say, and let the voters censure her by kicking her out at the next election. Or not. I mean, like I said before,
Police reported ahead.
Are representative of their constituents. People like Ilhan Omar, this Somalian Muslim, who's in Congress because of Lord Obama, who let all the Somalians in, the illegal aliens in, if you recall, back during his term. And he was saying this would not change the demographic of Minnesota one bit. That was a lie. Now they've got one in Congress. Okay? Hopefully people like Omar and Talib will be voted out of Congress. But they are their constituency, folks. They are representative of a segment of population that they represent. It's as simple as that. This is what happens when you let illegal aliens into the United States. This is the result. We have people like these lunatics in political office now. Did you hear about Judge Engeron, Judge Scrooge, who's presiding over the trial of Trump, the bench trial of Donald Trump in New York, the one that involves little Letitia James? Well, it's turned up that Judge Engeron, Judge Scrooge, you know what he looks like. He's posted naked selfies of himself on some sort of online...
Watch out, fog reported ahead.
Some sort of online high school website. I can't tell you the link because I don't have it. It's... Man, talk about disgusting. I've seen it. I'm not talking about full-on nudity, but from the chest up. I mean, if this guy's not hideous enough, if he's not ugly enough, having his face, his naked face up here is bad enough. But there's pictures of his torso, his naked torso, on some high school alumni page. Who on earth wants to see this? Why on earth would he do? What is wrong with this guy, man? This guy is a mental case, if you ask me. Judge Arthur Engeron, showing all of his former classmates, his fellow alums, his naked torso. What the hell, man? Who wants to see this? Really? If you want to see it, you can do a Google search, I guess, and look it up. I don't know why anybody would want to see this. I don't know what would cause him to think anybody wants to see his bare chest. But there it is for all the world to see. I don't recommend it. I'm sorry I saw it. Made me want to hurl when I did see it. All right, that's pretty much my summation of all the elections that went on Tuesday night. There were some wins and there were some losses. I wouldn't read too much in it either way. You know, typically...
Watch out, fog reported ahead.
Yeah, there is fog. Typically, turnout is low, and that's what I want to get to. You get the highest turnout in presidential elections, which we will have next year. This was kind of an odd year for an election. 2024, I don't know what the turnout will be, but it will. You always have the highest turnout in presidential election years. Next year, as things stand right now, it looks like it's going to be Trump versus Biden again, the sequel. I don't know what turnout will be, but it will be much higher than it was for this oddball election cycle in an odd year. Next year, it'll be a different story. So I wouldn't read too much.
Watch out, fog reported ahead.
I wouldn't read too much into these election results. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing what happened Tuesday. There were wins and there were losses. But it leads me to what my big point about all this is. And this is a sad thing. It is a commentary about the American people by and large, but it is the truth. By and large, generally speaking, most Americans are not paying attention. They don't follow what's happening in the news. They do not do any deep digging into what is happening. By and large, most of them hear the facts, quote unquote, just in what's happening in pop culture. Their views are influenced more by Hollywood celebrities than by people who actually know what's going on. There's more YouTube channels about Taylor Swift and Hollywood movie stars on YouTube than there are channels like this that actually take serious issues seriously and politics seriously and actually do some deep dives into the issues. Most Americans care more about sports than they do politics, even though what's happening in the body politic has more effects on your life and your liberties than sports ever possibly could. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, who wins in a sporting contest means nothing in terms of what happens to you in your personal life. And if you're giving more attention in your life to the score of the game last night, or whether or not your football team won their game, or your hockey team, or your baseball team, or your NBA
Watch out,
team,
vehicle on shoulder ahead.
if you care more about that, then you got no right to complain about how your personal life is faring when it comes to the effect that what politicians in Washington and your state house are deciding for you. If you're not paying attention to that, then you get what you deserve. But there are a lot of people out there like me who are actually paying attention to what's going on and doing our best to relay this information to you so that you can be informed and you can go out and act accordingly. But you know, it's discouraging, I got to tell you, when most Americans care more about sports, but they do. Most Americans care more about pop culture and Taylor Swift and Garth Brooks and the latest movie, the latest concert and what have you. They care more about what's happening on Entertainment Tonight than they do on Tucker Carlson or trailertrashtim. It's a sad commentary on American society, but hopefully we can reverse that trend. That's all I can say. All right, folks, that's my take on things on this Thursday. thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the little change in format. Out here on the road, I'm on I-65 north of Montgomery, heading toward Birmingham. Give me a big thumbs up on this video if you would. I would greatly appreciate that. Hit that thumbs up button below. Please subscribe to the Trailer Trash Tim channel. I would greatly appreciate that. You can hit the subscribe button, which is down below. You can share this video on your social media with your friends and your family and the preacher and your enemies and whoever. Share this video if you're friends with Rashid Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. Share it with them. Maybe they would enjoy it. By the way, did you know we're getting rid of Sheila Jackson Lee? She's running for mayor.
Watch out, fog reported ahead.
So we should be done with her in Congress, I assume. That's a good thing. Had it up to here with her. All right, everybody, go out there and have a great Thursday. Trailer Trash Tim. I'll see you tomorrow.